No, it is all good. It's all good. All right, so we're here. New, we'll call it a season of these interviews.
Okay.
And I'm here with Michael De La Rosa.
Pleasure.
Though most of you probably know him by a different name.
Noodles.
And how did we get that name? We'll start there.
It started off as a kid, growing up, always loving spaghetti. I'd always have a dry spaghetti noodle in my mouth.
Huh.
And my friends and cousins always said, Noodles.
There you go.
Yeah. So it's been that way since I was a kid.
Cool. Very cool. Well, we'll start out. I have four first questions.
Sure.
What was the first album you purchased with your own money?
It was Grand Funk. We're an American band. That was my very first, and actually it wasn't an album, it was a cassette.
My first was a cassette as well.
It was a cassette, and I had a paper route, and it was so cool because the cowbell got me.
Oh, yeah.
That was just it. And we're an American band, so it was cool.
Nice. What was the first concert you ever attended?
Led Zeppelin. Yep, I was 15.
Nice.
Ran away from home. Yep, it was great. Yeah, Jimmy Page was unbelievable.
What tour was that?
This was in 1972. This was it was called what was it? It's called now? It's called the Staples Center. It was called the Long Beach Arena back then.
Long Beach. Oh yeah,
yes.
yeah. Tons of people.
Yeah, it was great.
What was the first instrument you acquired?
Guitar.
Any specifics? Like, do you remember your exact first guitar you got? Or?
My very, very first guitar was old Sears Melody that was right-handed, and I had to string it,
restring it,
upside down, which I got in trouble because it was my mom's guitar. I wasn't supposed to do that. Well, I learned then you had to change the nut.
Yeah, you got to put the nut.
But I didn't know then.
Well,
Thought it'd be just simple.
And then, what was the first band you ever joined?
Oh gosh.
Or created, however,
It would have to be Mystery. It was a band here in Minneapolis back in 1995.
Nice.
Yep, South Minneapolis. Yep, we only did one show out of the basement. That's why we were called Mystery.
There we go.
/ Mystery formed from there into Fire.
There you go.
And that's how it's been since.
Nice. Okay, now we'll go into the deep stuff. When was your, as I like to call it, your aha moment, where you realized that music would be part of your life ever?
Seeing my dad on TV. I knew that that's what I wanted to do. At the time, he was playing jazz with Ella Fitzgerald, and I didn't understand jazz then. I thought it wasn't rock, so this was like, not the cool music, but it's what it's all about. But that's what it was.
And of course, you're not from here. You grew up in
California, Southern California. I moved here in 1990. And I've been here since, so my family calls me a Calisodan, half and half.
Nice. You're also obviously a sound guy. How long have you been doing?
I've been doing sound since I was 17 for a lot of local bands. One of the first bands I did sound for was for Tracy G, who was in a band called Phase. This was back in the 70s. He ended up being Ronnie James Dio's guitar player. And then I did sound for another band called Mirage, which the guitar player was the ex-guitar player with Michael Anthony, who was in Van Halen. At the time they were called Mammoth, and this band was called Snake. They were a local band. We were doing all the local shows, and it was really cool back then. So I remember my first experience doing sound was reaching around a Marshall amp and turning up his volume during his lead and then turning it down. All you can see is my hand coming around the amp. I mean, it was just so cool. I was just a kid just trying to figure out sound.
Yeah,
it was
very
cool.
So what was the first draw? The playing, or did sound just kind of come as part of the wanting to play, or the whole kind of experience?
Being in electronics, the frequency and stuff got me started on how sound waves and the presence and the ambience, how sound is what life is all about. I mean, our whole world is around sound. So it just fascinated me, and I just stuck to it, and I just always tinkered around with always having a bunch of speakers and always taking radios apart and stuff, seeing how they tick, and never putting them back together. But I got the magnets out of the speakers, so that was really cool. But yeah, just was fascinated with just sound and how things sounded. I mean, probably the first thing that got me into sound was hearing a quadraphonic back when Pink Floyd did Money, when it did the beginning with the change going from one speaker to another, and going, wow, how do they do that?
I don't think they even figured out how to do that. I think they tried to do it live a couple times, and it did not work out.
No,
well.
But it was so cool, especially for headphones.
Oh, yeah,
this
absolutely,
was, quadraphonic was huge back when I was a kid.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was going to stop you, but you kept going. Mirage, of course, you remember.
Oh, the Mirage, yes. Definitely, the Mirage was another place that when I first got here, I was fortunate to work at a place that I met this one drummer. His name was Christopher Scalaro. He was a drummer for this band called War and Peace, and what was the name before they were called? But they were a local band, and they were playing at the Mirage, and it was so happened that Great White was playing at the Mirage, and I grew up with Adi Desbro, so it was like we see each other, and it was like, yeah, what are you doing here in Minnesota? Are you crazy? It was a trip, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that would be the other question. Why, I mean, what was the reasoning for moving to Minnesota?
A friend of mine called me up and said, hey, why don't you come up for a weekend, bring a guitar, and let's jam, put down a couple of tracks. So I came up here, and I was here on a Thursday. That Monday, it was like, I don't want to go back. I mean, I didn't really have any ties, to keep me in California. And then I got offered a job in graphic arts, which that's what I've done my whole life besides playing music. I'm into graphic arts. And I got this job at this CompuType. We make barcodes, and I've been there since.
So a weekend turned into 30 years.
Yep, sure did. And I love it. I mean, I love California. I go back periodically, but can't wait to get back to Minneapolis. Yeah, love it here.
Nice. Nice. I've never been to California, so I wouldn't.
It's nice. It's nice. It's getting really crowded, and it's getting really dirty, and I don't like earthquakes.
Yeah.
I can handle the snow and the blizzards, but earthquakes, no.
Yeah, given, your house collapsing on you or 30 below, yeah, I'd probably take 30 below. Where's I going? Go somewhere like that. So I was just going to say, so how often did you run Sound and Mirage? Because when I went to Music Tech in 92, 93, that's where we did our rock ensemble kind of finals things. And I played, I think, 3 of those. So if you were there, you probably round sound for me at some time.
Probably so. I was only there for several months. It wasn't that really long deal. It was just a fill, and I was, hey, you know what you're doing. Get up here, that kind of thing. But yeah, it was fun. That was that was a really nice place. Another great place was the Iron Horse.
I never went to the Iron Horse.
That was really a fun place.
I heard.
Man. Crystal was rocking back then. Yep.
Great stuff.
Yeah, it was. That was the place to hang out, the Iron Horse. And then, of course, Sharky's. That was another place in Columbia Heights. That was my favorite place. And Ryan's.
Well,
Ryan's was just the hot spot.
I think I went to Ryan's once. And I don't know if it was still Ryan's or it was whatever it became after Ryan's. But a friend of mine's band was playing there, and this other band I was in, who contained members that used to be in a band, band mythology like that. So we went down to support them, and like everybody else, I just remember the pole in the middle of the stage.
Wow, the notorious pole.
That's,
Yep. I've seen so many guitar players whack the head of their guitar. Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, I remember the room sounding really good.
Oh, it's a great place. Yep, it's fun.
Yeah, and that's sad. That's one of the, one of the lost places. That place in the Triple Rock, and you know, we could go on and on and on, but
we still have the Terminal Bar.
We
have the Midway, which is
we have Midway,
and there's a lot of other these great venues that support the local music, which is awesome.
We have Part Wolf, who I'm in love with. I haven't played there yet, but
I've heard a lot of good things about that place.
A good room.
Yes.
As I said, Club Underground, which apparently is Outlaw Sade's home, because that's the only place you really play.
That's another fun place.
No, it's a fun room. The only thing, and like everybody else, the only thing I don't like about Club Underground is the stairs.
It's very awkward.
And unloading, loading out at 1:30 in the morning up the stairs is not
when it's really cold,
especially in the winter.
Yes,
it's not fun. But yeah, I mean, I mean, because I know, especially as of late, the Terminal's gotten a lot of flack. But I am one of the supporters. I will play there any day.
I was very impressed with the Terminal Bar last night. It was really great. I mean, the staff really upgraded the place, because it's been like a year since I've been in there. So I saw a big difference, and love the new sound system. It rocked. Yeah. There's some thunder now. Now we finally got that deep end working. Yep. And I like it loud.
Oh, you're one of the few people, sound people, that's like, fuck it, turn it up.
Yep.
Which as musicians we know. But again, at the Terminal, it's hard because you don't mic the drums. I mean, aside from the bass drum and maybe snare, though, I don't think I've had a snare mic there in a long time. But so it's harder for us to compete with everything else. But that's part of being a drummer. You just have to deal with it.
And like me, I just like miking the drums and the vocals. Yeah. I don't do the amps because the amps are loud enough with the room being so small.
Right.
Because it bounces right back and you get like this overtone sound. Right. So when they just have the the levels that they do at rehearsal, I just make sure I get that kick to get that thump and the vocals so you can hear the vocals. Yeah. Because sometimes guitar players will leave the vocals. You can't even hear them.
A lot of times.
I mean, you got to get your levels.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of shows where it's like, and you see the drummer playing, but you can't hear what he's doing, and the singer's doing something because,
Or I'll get these guitar players, they'll just bring their full stacks, and they'll say, I need to be mic'd. I go, we're not at the Target Center. So I'll put a mic right in front of them, and then after the show, they'll say, Noodles, that sounded great. And I'll say, wow, I didn't even turn it on.
Didn't even have a coordinate.
Yeah. It was a dummy mic.
Yeah. Though I got to say, on that small stage, who was it? What's the name? They're from Wisconsin. Toxic. What's their name? That's cool. I remember when I first saw them. Full stack on either side, double bass rack kit in the middle. I'm just like, oh my god.
Yep.
Cool.
It looks great.
It looks awesome.
It's really cool.
And everything was balanced, so it wasn't loud at all, but it just looks impressive. And then these guys try to. I don't know if you've seen them.
Yes.
They each have full stack, but they kick out the volume.
They have their volume
awesome,
down.
But oh my god, yeah. But yeah. So attending and playing and working as many shows, what you got to have some stories, good, bad, indifferent.
I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot of things happen on stage, but I have this thing with stays on stage. I mean,
fair enough.
There's a lot of musicians make mistakes, but it all happens. I mean, a lot of shows are awesome. I mean, there's some musicians out there. There's some shows that I can just say, wow, that's great. And then there's some shows where I'll have to say, man, you had too much to drink. Save it for after the show.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely.
It's sad. I mean, especially, I used to be at that point where I used to get totally fucked up all the time. I mean, especially at the Terminal, you're the sound guy, you get free drinks. Yeah. I mean, you're there, 4 hours, they keep bringing you beer after beer. And then it was like it took its toll finally.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
said, you know,
Absolutely.
I've had enough, and it's been over 5 years since I had a drink. And thank you. And I could see now what I didn't see or I didn't really hear. I mean, I must have been a terrible sound guy drunk. Yeah. But still.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I mean, I enjoy doing sound. It's what it's all about. It's what I love.
Okay, if you had to pick one, sound or being on stage?
It's kind of like I'm blending both of them because I am still on stage when I'm setting up and I'm running sound. And when we do shows, I set my own sound up. So I kind of do the same thing. I'm doing double duty. It's like, okay, but I really don't like doing that because I like to have a sound guy that watches the band.
Yeah,
and you can
knows
see
what
each
the
member.
band-
I mean,
yeah.
because every song and every band plays differently.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
it doesn't matter. You know the sound of the room, but everything is different. You just got to keep your eye on the musicians. I mean, that's what you're paid for.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's why it irritates me when I see people kind of set the levels and then just kind of walk away.
No, you don't do that.
I've had so many shows like that where it's like, you know, we'll stop a song and he's suddenly like, oh, he's gone again.
Yep. I mean,
And
maybe
then you
if you
just
have to go to the
kinda-
bathroom, boom, boom. That's what I do.
But you know, but then you know, you see him later and he was out having a cigarette and then he stopped by the bar and was flirting with the bartender. It's kind of like, no, just do your job. You know, wait until between sets or something to do that. Or if we're going into something is like 20 minutes, then you can go and do that.
You know, it's not just setting the dials and then walking away.
No, it's maintaining it throughout
exactly, because
you know,
things change. I mean, sound travels.
yeah. Okay, we'll go this route. What are some of your absolute favorite top local? We'll go Midwest, so we'll include the Dakotas and Iowa and Wisconsin bands.
Wow,
Like if you had to do like a top, I'll be generous. If you had to do like a top 10.
top 10. Wow, that would be. I mean, there's quite a
Which
few.
is hard because I've only been back in the scene for like 5 years maybe, and it's like every show I go to I see at least 2 or 3 just amazing bands. It's just like how much talent could one area have? It's just insane.
There's a lot of great talent out here, and there's a lot of great bands. And growing up in the LA scene, to me, Minneapolis is the new LA scene because we got everything that they have, and it's just even better. And the local bands, they put their heart into what they're doing, and they do it well. And there's some great bands. It's really hard to say because I like them all. I mean, I do. I enjoy just running their sound. I mean, there's a few that I can say that are up there. I mean, like Reverend Soul, they're a good band. Shrida.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, those guys, I've known them for a long time. I mean, that bass player, another lefty.
Yeah.
I mean,
and they have a left-handed drummer as well.
yeah, I mean, that's that's another thing too. They're really great. I mean, there's some good bands out there. I mean,
Okay, do you have some favorites that you love running sound for? Just because they're so cooperative or so understanding, or or is that in the same ballpark as your favorite band?
that's kind of the same ballpark. You kind of know, the singers, how they're going to sing, and you just know, the sound, and it's just something that I think I like them all, and I don't really judge how this one's better than this one, or I mean, there's some really unbelievable singers out there, and there's some singers that just do the job.
Yeah.
But it's just everybody has their own tone.
Well, yeah, and yeah, I mean, I agree with you. There is no better or worse. It's just everybody's different.
It's hard to pick because I really like every singer that goes on stage. I mean, I really haven't done a sound where it's terrible.
Right.
I mean, it's just every time, sometimes there's little technical difficulties here and there, getting things up, and but other than that, it just runs smooth, and it's great. I mean, it's always a good thing to see the bands look at each other, and that they can dig the sound, and that makes me feel good.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Because that's what it's all about, rocking on stage and having fun.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
That's what we do.
And the people. I mean, I always. I mean, the question of if you had advice for young musicians, if you're getting into music for the money, you're making a mistake.
Oh, exactly.
You're never going to make it. if you're, I mean, because most of the shows that I play, we play for free.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, there's a cover charge, but it's like, yeah, give me my $2 at the end of the night. It's like, you know,
hey, White Castle after the show.
But it doesn't matter.
No,
because you know,
doing what you do, your craft.
Exactly. Any time on stage is good times.
Yep.
I mean, I if I could live on stage,
even if there's nobody, I've done shows where there's nobody there, but it's like we had fun anyway. It was really cool. I mean, we cracked jokes.
Yeah, I mean, another cover band I was in, Garage Orphans, we played the Terminal one time. And it was one of those weekends where, like, a Twins game was going, Comic-Con was in town.
Sometimes that happens, yep.
Kevin Smith was in town. So we were essentially just playing to the sound guy and the bartender. And I think maybe one or two people kind of wanted
a few regulars walk in.
And it was one of the few times that by about 11:30, I think we're going on to do our third set, the sound guy was just like, yeah, we're just going to cut it for the night. I think that's good. And we're just like, oh, yeah, absolutely. Because it's like getting home earlier. Yeah. That's always a plus. Because they got to stop with these like 9:30, 10 o'clock start times.
Like last night, it was like I told the bands, I go, you know, they were there at 8 o'clock. I go, why don't we just start 8:45? Yeah. They go, the flyer says 9:30. I go, well, you know, that's really, you know, late. It's like not 4 bands. We want to get out of here at least by 12:30.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I know each band is only doing like a 25-minute set, but still.
It's the teardown setup, which is, you know, some bands just don't understand that, you know, the show has to keep rolling. I mean, there's some bands that go on stage, tear up real quick, and then there's some bands where you have to say, hey, can you know, move your drum set, or...
That is one of my biggest pet peeves. Anytime I see a drummer start disassembling on stage,
you
it's like,
don't,
just take the shit off, help the next guy up.
Yes.
Or, you know...
You go into the other band's time, and sometimes the bands have to, you know, sacrifice a couple of songs because, you know...
Oh, I'll tell you a story about that. Or just backline everything.
Yes,
like,
if you have enough room.
Well, backline drums at least. Like, have everybody use the same kit. Modify it, you know, as it works, but because that's what takes up a lot of time.
Yes,
is that, and I'm sorry, but guitar players fiddling with their pedals and fiddling with their stuff, and
yeah, we have this thing that we practice on. We want to tear down within 12 minutes to get everything off. I mean, take everything off, everything down, and we've worked on that and setting up too. We go up there, plug in, set up, everything's on, boom, we're ready to go.
Yeah, like a NASCAR road crew, just just go, or a pit crew.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, that's. We were doing a show for Rob Emberson. Over at Cadence in St. Paul, which is an odd place to have shows anyway. I still say it's an odd place.
Is that like a record store?
It's a record store, but it's got a little room in the back with stage.
Okay. How many people does it hold?
Oh God! If you could get maybe 20 people in there, would be capacity in the room itself.
No wonder why it looks crowded.
Yeah, I mean it's great because you could have 5 people in the audience.
Is it a good? Does the sound good?
The sound is fairly good.
Okay.
Surprisingly, but we were doing one of these things, and it was like a rock / metal / hip hop thing, and it started early, and the 2 hip hop guys went up and they did their sets, and then there was some confusion because one of the guys, Crucial Ally, said because we were asking about backlining drums, and he's like, yeah, I have a kit, no problem. Brought it in. Bass drum didn't have any legs.
Oh gosh.
The tom up here, you had 2 mounted toms, but only 1 tom holder. So the guy from the band before me had like a snare stand and put that on, and it was not a great kit. So that took a little bit of time. Then they did their set, and then the next band up, the drummer brought their kit. So they set up, but the problem is, so the show was running a little bit late, and then by the time this band before us got on, they played their full set. They did like a whole birthday thing in the middle, and they did an encore.
See, that's not.
So by the time they got off stage, because we were supposed to go on at 9.
Did the sound guy tell them that they were overlapping, or?
Well, I mean, they did eventually. By the time they went to the encore, both the sound guy and Rob were like,
Yeah.
So by the time Outlaw Inc. got on stage and got set up and everything, we did our set, which we cut down considerably in like 12 minutes. We did, we pounded them out, but it's kind of like, yeah, thanks, guys, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But I got to say, the drummer of the previous band, who I've mentioned before, and I won't mention here, was really, really cool. I mean, he let me use his kit because he saw the condition of the kit before, and he was very apologetic and very nice, and actually stayed through our whole set. And,
See, that's
which
cool.
is very
Support
cool.
is what it's number one key.
Yeah, which is very cool. But it's kind of like, yeah, I mean, that's why I would never want to run a show or put it together, just because I'm not very authoritative. So I wouldn't be able to say, hey, we got it, In my head I would, but I couldn't do that out loud. Yeah. In my head I'm screaming at him. But yeah, I didn't, so yeah. So it's, as much as I'd love to get out there and like put bills together and do all that, I couldn't run a show.
It's a lot of work.
I need someone else to, I'll get all the bands together. You actually run the show.
Yeah. I hear you.
But yeah. Okay, so what's some of your favorite rooms around here that you've played? I mean, we could talk about Lee's. We could talk about Lee's for days.
Lee's rocks.
Because Lee's is, in my opinion, probably the best room for smaller venue in the city.
Yep. Yeah, the stage is nice. Sound system is unbelievable. Yep.
Everybody who works there is great.
And I also like playing the Keller Bar.
I've never played the Keller
That is also a nice sound system in there, and really the sound guy really does a great job. That's another one where you have to go down a flight of stairs.
Yeah. I've been in the red carpet, and I'm like, this is nice. And then it's like, oh yeah, the Keller's downstairs.
Yep.
Next door down there. Oh,
and you have downstairs going back, and then downstairs in the front. So either way, you got to go downstairs.
Yeah.
Which would have been nice if they had a freight elevator.
Well, yeah.
But
yeah, I mean,
it's nice.
I've heard good things about them. And I have to actually attend a show there at some point, or maybe play one, who knows. But then, I mean, the whiskey. I always like playing the whiskey.
Whiskey's nice.
That's a nice room.
That was very. We played sometimes whiskey. The Fine Line is a nice place to play.
Yeah. Well, see, I consider that like upper echelon. Like, the whiskey and Lee's. That's kind of like the top tier of the clubs that I think are attainable for a band I'm in to play. But then you have like the Fine Line and First Ave and everything above that. That's just like, yeah, we'll never play that.
Yeah, it was great at the Fine Line when you see your name on the dressing room. You walk in there, they have all kinds of drinks and food and stuff. It's really a nice green room.
I actually did play there once. It was a band I was in back in '95 called Stupid Jerk. We did the round of the new band nights, and that was one of them. So it was like a Tuesday night or something. And I don't remember an actual green room. I do remember kind of and I don't know if this is probably before they had the fire and remodeled it. But they had kind of like a side room that was almost like a dining room.
Yep.
That everybody kind of set up in. I remember that. And the set itself, I don't remember. Like, unless it just blocked it out.
Another venue I enjoyed playing, remember The Rock? This was in Maple Grove?
Did it become something else? Or
Yes,
was it something else?
but it was The Rock for a long time.
Okay.
It's right down the corner from the Myth.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a really fun place to play.
Yeah, I heard great stories about that place too.
That was a nice big stage.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and that once you get to places like that and Jersey's and Route 47 and those places, that's kind of like in the, again, more obtainable, but still kind of like in the upper echelon.
Jersey's, yes.
Yeah. Did one show at Jersey's and pretty much nobody showed up. And it was weird because this is off-duty astronauts, and we were playing there, and we saw people back at the bar and like playing darts and stuff. So we know there were people there, but every time we'd start the song, crickets, absolutely not.
Wow.
And we're just like, okay.
Well, the location of that place too. It's way out there.
Yeah, and I'm sure they're there to drink and to have darts.
Exactly.
They don't really care about what's happening on stage. And they're probably just used to it. They're just like,
Yep, it's just a band.
Yeah, it's just a band, working on their craft and, But, and then, of course, we can't forget about the Caboose.
Caboose that was another fun place. Yeah. Jeez. Yeah, they have, that stage is big too. I like that place.
It's big, but it's odd. It's in an odd spot in the room.
Yeah, I mean, for sound-wise of the building too, I think
Yeah.
they had it in that awkward location. It's just, I mean, I wonder why it was built that way. I wonder what James Brown thought when he played on that stage.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
But again, that's another one we did the new band at in the mid-90s. And I don't remember, like, the whole back area. I don't remember that being there.
Yeah, it's.
I remember,
seems
like a little bit.
Yeah.
And there was like a pool table or something back there. But I don't remember, like, the dressing room and the bar and all
Yeah.
that.
Did you ever go to the 400 Club?
The only story about the 400 is when we were trying to get gigs in that band. We went in there to drop off our, old school CD and, paper promo back. And we gave it to like the bartender or something. And he's like, "Oh yeah, this is great. No, I got to go. There's, the bathroom is flooding, so I got to go and take care of that." That's literally the only time I stepped foot in the 400 bar.
That was another fun place. Yep.
Well, I mean, all on that strip. I mean, you have the Red Sea, you have the 400,
And then the Triple Rock.
you had Triple Rock, you had Palmer's, you had
And then you keep going down. You can just make your rounds walking even.
yeah. I mean, a nice summer night. You could just, start at the freeway and just kind of work.
Yeah,
your way
no
down.
kidding.
Yeah, Palmer's is another one. Never played, only been there once, but that's another odd room. Kind of like the Viking.
Or another odd room is the Driftwood. That
Don't
place,
even get me started
Oh,
on
that
Driftwood.
place is, I don't know why they even have venues there. It's just a restaurant.
If you want to have like a acoustic duo,
Yeah, or a comedy act.
or a comedy act,
I
or
hear you.
spoken word,
But
or
not a
something.
full band,
But,
please.
but I've seen like punk shows there.
Why? Yeah.
It's-
Yeah, we played there once, and I go, no, this is not a venue for our kind of music. No. Of course. Turn it down. You're too loud.
First time we ever played the Driftwood, it was in Rogers, and Larry. People love Larry or people hate Larry. I'm on the latter of the two. Because first thing he came up, and about halfway through our first song, he went up to D-Man's amp and reached over and turned it down.
I know.
And we were like, no. So we were like, fuck this, and we just rocked the rest of the set. And I remember him saying, because he's one of these people that, you have to bring in 20 people.
Yes.
One of those, I mean, I understand, but it's like, but then he was also saying, you have to do more than just online advertising. It's like, well, you could do some on your part. You could help us out. You asked us to be here. But at the end, I think we brought in like 18 people, like just shy. More than any other band, because after we were done, the place basically cleared out.
And I'm sure the bar was happy.
But he came up to me, before we even played, he was like, it's a Thursday night, so we don't expect much, but we'll see how it goes. And he was all friendly and stuff, and I'm like, okay. And then after we played, he was like, no, I will forget this, or I will never forget this. He went, yeah, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great. And at that point, I was like, okay, fuck you. Never playing here again. Wound up playing there 2 more times with 2 other bands, and pretty much the same result. So if I get asked to play there, sure, I will never book a show there. Book a show there or at Acadia, another room where they should not have rock bands, but they do. And of course, Larry runs that as well. So it's like, if he likes you, he likes you. If he doesn't like you,
you're blackballed. Nope.
Yeah.
You're not playing here. Anywhere else.
Exactly. Well, I know before they reopened the Whiskey, I think he used to book at the Whiskey as well.
Wow.
But now the Whiskey is reopened, which is great, except they don't have food anymore. They took away their menu.
Wow.
Which sucks, because they had awesome food.
They did. Yes, they did.
And it's so hard to find a venue on the level that we play that actually serves something besides frozen pizza.
Food trucks make a killing at the gigs.
Oh, yeah.
Someone was smart.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure, Walt's Barbecue wouldn't have any business if it wasn't for James and Lee's.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, so many. Yeah, good times.
The metro area. Love it. Digging all these posters and flyers, man. That's a lot.
Any memories stand out looking?
Oh yeah, a lot of them. Yep. Wow. Jeez. Wow. Noodles on sound.
There you go.
Yeah, I've done a lot of these shows. Wow. Yep, we have some good bands. We really do.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But again, it's sad because you look, it's like, oh, they don't exist anymore. They haven't played for 5 years. They're now this band. You know.
Yep. Wow. Yeah, no kidding. Inner Toil, great band.
They're coming back.
Yep.
Outlaw Stain is now practicing in the same place that they are.
Oh, cool.
So I went and hung out in their room. Me and the bass player. They have an awesome room there. It's
Nice.
fucking nice. But they're just like, yeah, you know, this year, because they had problems with the guitar player, so they had a new guitar player in. And they're like writing new stuff, so I think they're going to, you know, put a record out and do shows and promo, and so the next like 3 or 4 months, they're gonna hit it. So it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, cool job on your flyers, man. I like your wallpaper. Rocks.
Well, and then we have that one down there. The only time I've ever been in Minnesota Music Cafe.
Oh wow! I forgot about that show.
I kind of did too until I saw the flyers. Like, oh yeah,
Wow!
because that.
I'll have to get a picture of this before I leave.
Yeah, and I'll take you on the tour of the rest of it too. Cause
Yeah, definitely. Well, there's another show we did. Oh
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's one I was going to go to, but I didn't for some reason. I don't remember why. But yeah.
Yeah. Wow. This is really cool.
Yeah, that show there with the Hot Rod Rodeo Vinyl Recliner, that's the only show I've ever kind of put together.
Okay.
And I was-
Hot
I
Rod
was-
Radio, another good band. I like those guys. They're fun.
Awesome.
Jimmy's a great guitar player.
Yeah, and their drummer's pretty killer too. It's funny, the last show that we played together, we and him were sitting and we're talking about, like, he was trying to get me to do like drum exercises and rudiments, and I'm just like, yeah, that's good. I haven't done that for 20 years. I don't play like that. I don't think like that. But I mean,
Yeah, you don't want him to fuck you up.
Yeah, I mean,
Yep.
yeah, I mean, it works for him, and yeah, he's absolutely awesome. I mean, it's too bad they're not playing anymore. I mean, Jimmy still is in Wayward Boys Club, but yeah, I don't know what the other ones are doing.
Yeah.
But I always felt sorry for those guys, especially Doug, the bass player, because I know he lived, I think, an hour and a half out of the cities or something. So anytime we played a show, they had to open. He maybe stuck around for another half hour and then had to go,
That's harsh.
which
really
is
harsh.
rough. But
Yeah.
that just shows commitment.
Yeah, I mean,
Like, yeah, I live up here, but I want to do shows in the city. It's like, okay.
wow.
Yeah, those guys.
So how long have you been doing these interviews?
I did my first one last, I believe, February was the first one I did. So, and then I did about 5 or 6 between February and May. And then kind of, people just got busy. It was hard to, schedule people. And then, so I didn't do any. And then about, I guess, October or so, that's when Natalie contacted me about doing the band interviews for Midwest Metal Promotions. And I was thinking about that, and I'm like, yeah, I should do the one-on-ones again, because that was fun. So yeah, I have about, I'm actually talking to Robert Carlson on Saturday.
Nice.
This coming Saturday. We had to wait till we got back from NAMM.
I wanted to be there. My family's out there, and a lot of my friends are out at NAMM. I mean, I love the NAMM show.
I've never attended.
You got to experience once, right?
No, and I want to. I want
just,
to. How? Because I've heard that you can't just walk in there.
No, it's not open to the public.
Right.
You have to know somebody that's either in the music business or a music store or a retailer or a musician. But it's like you have to buy a membership, but you have to be referred.
Okay.
Excuse me. But yeah, it's worth it.
Yeah, I mean, I watch all of the recap videos from all the companies every year, and I'm just like, that would just be awesome.
No, I remember going to the NAMM back in like 87 and 85 where all the local rockers were still in their heyday.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like really cool walking around, you know, you've seen Yngwie doing a seminar and just totally, it was awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
seeing David Lee Roth walking around, seeing Van Halen standing in line, and you turn around and it's the drummer of Autograph, or having lunch with Bruce Kurlick of Kiss, you know, standing in line getting hot dogs and this man. It's just really cool. Everybody and everybody. I mean, it's really cool hanging out with Lita Ford. First thing she says, you know, you got any twisters? Because she wanted to get high. It was, of course, Lita Ford. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I'll find some.
It was really cool. I mean, yeah, that's when my little brother was endorsed through BC Rich.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I was able to get the BC Rich, so it was cool.
Nice.
And it was fun. Yeah, having family in the music business was a plus.
Yeah, I mean, my dad was a musician, but nothing like your family.
Well, it was just being lucky. I mean, like my little brother, he was, able to, join a band in LA, and they got really successful. In fact, they had a video on MTV. They did a remake of that Del Shannon song called "Runaway."
Oh yeah.
Donny Osmond's in the video. They were picked up by Allied artists. It was like back in the '80s, bands were just being picked up left and right. I mean, you had long hair and you had a good groove. I mean, you could totally rock. I mean, I remember seeing Rock Candy, and that was Vince Neil Wharton when he was a brunette, and he wailed in Rock Candy, and he got picked up, and that's how that started.
Yeah,
that's how the crew started.
I always say I was born like 20 years too late, because I would have loved to just experienced all that. That would have been awesome.
I mean, I remember seeing Adi Desbro with Jack Russell when they were another local band called Dante Fox. And Mark Kendall was the guitar player. It's like, it's a trip, knowing all these guys growing up, and we still keep in contact. I mean, it's really cool getting that a boy from Mark Kendall, Great White, tells me, you're doing good, brother. That's gangster, man. I mean, because, back then we were all fucking stoners, fucking drunks, doing blow, smoking pot. And of course, all the women. It was fun. No, I'm sorry, but it was back in the 80s.
It was a different time.
It was a way different time. I shouldn't have said that. Ouch! I'm going to get in trouble for that one. But it was fun.
Everybody's seen the Dirt movie. Everybody
got along. And I mean, there was no shootings or gang violence.
No, it seemed like the ultimate sense of I mean, there was rivalry between the bands, obviously.
Yeah, but it was cool.
It was so. Yeah. Again, kind of like what we have now. Although I don't see a lot of rivalry within certain genres. Like between your death metal guys and your like hard rock guys, there might be something, but within your
the hard rock and the death metal. Well, we don't drop too, but we drop.
Yeah, and
we growl.
Yeah, and that's the thing I'm trying to do with Strike. I mean, no offense to Outlaw Saint, but we have our audience.
You guys are great. Strike's a good band.
And that's the thing I'm trying to do with Strike, is trying to play some of these metal shows and weasel our way in so we can play with the death metal guys and the tech guys and
it should be a wide variety. The show should have 3 different genres during the night, which would be cool. I mean,
you go to a show and it's 4 growly death metal bands. That's great, but after 1.5 sets, you're like, okay, a little something different would be nice. I mean, that's why I love these guys, Hex Vortices. Those guys, Agony Reigns, all the guys bring, and Agony Reigns is so young, which is why I love the fact that they're doing old school thrash, because it's kind of
they were raised well.
They were raised very well, and they know what the fuck they're doing.
Yep, exactly.
And
is that at the Terminal?
That is at the Terminal. That's the first time I ever saw them. It was at a Halloween show. They were dressed as garden gnomes. I thought it was hilarious. I looked at that kit and went, holy shit.
Look at that rat. Wow.
I mean, his kit literally takes up the entire I was joking with Will over 1459 when Strike were there, because he's talking about drum mics, and I'm like, so did you get him for Tom's kit? And he was like, yeah. Because he has a lot of shit. But he's like, yeah, I had a set, and then I found, another 9 or 10 cheap somewhere, and I picked him up. And then like the next week, Hex came in to record, so like, good thing I did, because I have 15 toms to mic.
That's what impressed me when I got to the terminal last night. They had a whole case of just drum mics.
They're micing drums now?
Oh yeah, I mic'd them last night. Shit, yeah, fuck yeah, I saw the mics and everything. Oh yes. You don't have to ask me twice. Yep. Oh, it sounded great too.
That makes all the difference.
Mm-hmm.
And not even for volume, just for, because
just for the level.
Just for level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because you need that. You need the pop of the snare, and you need a kick, and you need an overhead.
And you need an overhead, yeah. Mm-hmm. Because the last couple of shows I saw there, they I don't think they mic any drums at all.
No,
and I'm just like,
to.
oh, that just hurts.
Mm.
I mean, even if you have the best sounding tuned kit, getting it mic'd and running it through there and doing whatever little thing you do just makes it.
And it's much better for the drummer to hear too.
Oh, absolutely. Mm-hmm. And then you don't have to play as hard, and it's better. It's just better all around.
Yep.
It's better all around. Yeah. But yeah, no. So
yeah, we need to get a new drum mics for the Midway. They don't. The one we had fell apart. So.
Yeah. Mics will do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, years old. I mean, it lived its toll. Kicked around a couple of times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that I've always said, that if I ever won the lottery or anything, the first thing I would do is get about 2-3 sets, full sets of really good mics, and just donate them to all these clubs, and just be like, there you go. You have the ones you use, you have a backup, you have
yeah, it was a big smile on my face when I opened up and I saw that sitting there, a showcase, and opened up. Yes, this is nice. This is
time.
Yep. Wow, somebody did right.
Yeah, I mean, it's
the board is nice. I mean, we got the sound going. We got the low ends. We got that subwoofer totally finally working. That hasn't been working in years. So I was having the whole house thumping last night. You could feel it. And then the band Murph, I've seen their video, and normally they have 2 drummers. Mm-hmm. But there was no way they could have got 2 drummers on that stage, which they said they've done it before, which I was not working sound at that time. But the drummer did come in with this huge kick that it must have been like looked like something you'd see inside of a marching band. Wow. But it was just so huge, and man, that thing was loud. Oh, I had that thing with a nice thick where you can feel it right in your shoulder.
Which is how it should be.
Mm-hmm. And man, did we have the mosh pit going. Every single band. It was like, when we got there, we cleared everything out. I go, because these bands are going to mosh.
Oh, yeah.
So it was fun.
Nice. Now, who was it last night?
It was Plague and Sanity.
A band I know but have never seen, I don't think.
I think they're from Wisconsin or maybe Wyoming. They're not local, but they've been here a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I see their name everywhere.
Yeah, they were really good.
Nice.
And who was the other band? I forgot the names. And Piss on Your Dad, and what was the other one? Deterration, I think. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure. I got to look at the flyer, but. Yeah, it was all hardcore thrash metal. It was fun.
Nice.
Yep, everybody had a good time, and there must have been, say, at least 100 people there.
Really?
It was packed.
Wow.
Yep, it was packed.
Wow.
For as cold as it was in the weather, it was like, wow, this is cool. I was impressed. It was fun. It was fun seeing some old faces and
I bet, yeah.
Seeing everybody just totally having a good time.
Yeah. That is what it's all about.
Because the terminal has had some really good shows, and there's been some bad shows there.
Well, as I always say, because I am a faithful follower, I've seen some of the best shows I've ever seen at the terminal, some of the worst shows I've ever seen at the terminal.
Yeah, it's the terminal.
Yeah,
it's the grandfather of the dive bars in our local area.
Yeah.
I mean, Phlegm did well.
Yes, I would agree. And to all the people that hate the terminal and refuse to walk into the terminal,
get back there, because now new sound system, and I was impressed. The bathrooms smell. I'm like, no way! I don't smell piss. I was like, what? Seriously, they cleaned it up.
Okay, now.
I mean, I don't know what maybe they have a better janitorial crew, but it was clean. It smelled disinfected in there. Wow. It was like, wow. It was like, yeah, I was impressed.
Well, those were the 2 complaints.
And what I also was shocked about, I did not know, the wall was painted over. The wall with all the
back,
with all the band names. That was like our little history. I don't know why they just painted was like, wow, that's sad. I mean, I'm glad I have pictures that I've taken from the years I worked there, but still, that was like a little history.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But we can start it again.
Well, yeah, and I think, I don't know if it was the terminal themselves, but it was maybe
it could have been in the door. Yeah.
But now it's kind of the back level, you know.
They painted that too. We can start all over.
Yeah, exactly.
Start putting your name on there every time you play.
And I know the strike page, which I don't know if Timmy has responded to yet. We got a message from who's ever booking at the terminal saying, "Hey, come play and send us a shitload of dates."
John?
It may have been John. I'm not sure.
I didn't know he's doing the booking. I met him last night for the first time. Really nice guy. I mean, I told him, I go, this is good that you're getting all these bands in here. I mean,
well, yeah, and I think as I said in another video, when I started, because I didn't, like everybody else, I kind of stopped going to the terminal when they stopped kind of booking stuff regularly and was away for a while. Mm-hmm. And when I started going back, I talked to the bands and they're like, yeah, this is our first time here. We've never even been here before. Wow. So they were getting a lot of like newer, fresher bands. I mean, because they had a lot of repeat customers for a long time. You know, how many times have I seen Blood War at the terminal? Like a dozen. You know, so they had a lot of. So they're getting fresh blood.
You're right.
Nice. And then maybe that will encourage, you know, some of the older bands to kind of come back and give it a second shot. You know.
That's the terminal. Yep. Home away from home. It felt good being there last night. Good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, every time I walk in there, it honestly, it feels like home. Mm-hmm. Like it's that.
It's like our cheers.
Yeah.
Everybody. Yeah, but it's just really cool. Yeah, it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. This is so cool. I could sit here for hours and look at all these flyers. Man, great job. This is the history of our local scene right here.
Yeah.
Definitely. Should write a book.
Oh, I don't think I'm knowledgeable enough to write a book. I could contribute.
Yeah, that would be really cool. Wow.
I mean, somebody like you could write a book.
The Red Carpet Mordic. Another good band.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And in Videosis, they always crack me up because every time I see it, well, first of all, their singer looks like he's 12. And it always cracks me up because he goes up there and he's barefoot in like pajama pants and sideways cap, and you're just looking at him, and then he starts to sing, and you're like, okay.
Yep. Dude has some pipes.
Dude has, absolutely. Mm-hmm. It's just, the dichotomy of that is just weird.
Yeah. It's surprising how you underestimate musicians when they get up there and do their craft. It's awesome.
Wow. But then, you know, on the other end, you get these people that are up there and big buff and with the pipes and the thing, and they're playing, and you're just like, yeah, that doesn't fit. That doesn't fit either. They're playing like these, you know, ethereal ballads and stuff, and you're just like, okay.
Wow. What was that first health show?
Oh, I don't know.
Live music hall.
Somewhere in England, I would assume.
Wow.
Or in the UK somewhere. Yeah, I mean, a lot of local stuff, and then I found there's a couple of sites that I don't get stuff anymore on Facebook. Thank you, Facebook, for your fucking algorithm. One of them was Back to the Ball, which is where I got like all the Judas Priest stuff and a lot of that stuff. And then there's another one that had a lot of like more 60s, 70s classic rock type posters up, and that's where you get like all the Monsters of Rock and the Aerosmith one over there, and like all those.
Wow.
And yeah, it's just, ever since I found out you could open any image, right click, save as picture. That explains it.
I'll have to send you, I have a BAM magazine. That was like our local magazine back in LA. And the cover of this one was 1984 when Vince Neil got in that accident.
Oh, yeah.
He was the cover on when he was on trial.
Yeah.
But that's really cool because you open it up and the whole center page is when my little brother's band Renegade played for the LA street scene.
Oh, nice.
It was an open event. It was kind of funny because Edgar Winter opened up for my brother. It was like, oh, this is unbelievable. And of course, I was his guitar tech. That was my first job being a roadie. And it was so cool going up there and hitting the G chord and seeing the crowd going, yeah! I was like,
you're just like,
yeah, this is cool. I'm not the guitar player, but this is cool. I'm just like waving at everybody.
Yeah, I can do this for the rest of my life.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, but I remember the Renegade toured with Bloister Cult. Did a lot of shows with those guys. Fun going backstage with them.
Oh, I bet.
It's been years. I saw them. I think this must have been in 2011. They played at the Medina Ballroom.
Okay. Yeah.
And I ran over there and saw them backstage, and we talked about the old times going on tour in the 80s. It was fun. Yeah. Yeah, seeing the police escorts to the Santa Monica Civic Auditorium, it was unbelievable. Yeah, this is what it's at.
Yeah.
Music, so universal.
It absolutely is. It absolutely is.
Yeah. Couldn't live without it.
It's the one language that literally everybody speaks.
Everybody speaks it, yep.
In some way, shape, or form. And I think a lot of people don't realize that until I say stuff like, okay, imagine watching TV, watching a movie, and there's no music.
Yep.
It's that integral that you don't even think about it.
Exactly.
You know?
Wow. It's pretty cool.
But, what do you do?
Wow, yeah, some cool stuff. Macaulay Schenker Group, man. Michael Schenker is one of my idols. Great guitar player.
Oh, that's the one thing we didn't touch on that we need to talk about is influences.
One of my main influences would probably be Tony Iommi of Black Sabbath.
Because why not?
Elliott of the Cars, another lefty. And of course I like Michael Schenker of UFO. UFO is probably one of my very first hard rock bands that I really got into. Them, Judas Priest, and the Scorpions. It was like those were my main favorite bands. Now, when I was growing up, like in high school, my favorite band was Aerosmith. I thought Aerosmith was the shit. And of course, Led Zeppelin.
Well, yeah.
Zeppelin was just number one. I mean, you walk in my room, that's all you saw was Zeppelin, Aerosmith, and Sabbath posters. That's it.
Nice.
Yeah. And Kiss, of course.
Oh, yeah.
You had to have Kiss. Yep.
Yeah. So where do you fall on like Deep Purple? Because I feel they're always kind of like the forgotten little brother in that scene.
It was like Smoke on the Water was just like something where I grew up was just so overplayed that it was like that's all we knew about Deep Purple.
You gotta listen to the rest of the
until like I heard Lazy. It's like okay, now we're talking.
Yeah, no, I get it.
I mean, Deep Purple is unbelievable. They're great. I mean,
yeah, I always feel bad for Ian Pace. Because when you talk about drummers of that era, you got Bonham, you got Moon, you got Ginger Baker. Ginger Baker, honestly, I was never all that impressed with. Only because, I mean, his playing is fine, but he always claimed to be a jazz guy. Like, I'm not a jazz player. But he was one of the most stiffest players I've ever seen.
He was always in the pocket.
His pocket is awesome.
Yeah,
and his parts were great.
Baker, wow.
I mean, he had a lot of other issues, as we all know if you've seen the documentary.
But another one, we're speaking about Cozy Powell.
Oh, Cozy Powell. Always gets forgotten.
He's another one. I mean, he's just, that foot. Gosh.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. Man, we can go on drummers. I mean, because I was a drum roadie in Mirage when I was, besides being the sound guy, just always the drum tech. I was always set up the drummer.
And if I remember from the one video there, he had a sizable kid as well. So I bet that was fun.
It would take some time. I mean, I remember with the Renegade doing that, we would have to be at the stadium 5 a.m. getting everything all set up for them to even come in to play at night.
Oh yeah, I mean if you're doing full stage, full sound, yeah. I mean,
and it was so cool because afternoon sound checks are also great too, and they come in, do their sound checks and everything. Then okay, let's break for lunch. They supply lunch, and it was so cool. I mean, that's what I really wanted to do, and I think I continue doing it. I mean, it's my life. I mean, I believe music. One way or another, there's something that has to do with music every day.
Yeah, I mean that's the other thing. Once you commit to this life, you're in it forever.
Yep.
Even my dad, who, as I said, was a musician. He was in top 40 bands in the city all throughout my childhood.
That's really great.
And he kind of got frustrated, like in the early 90s, and kind of stopped playing for a while. But eventually did start playing again, like, almost 10 years later. So it's like, once it's in you, it never
leaves. Yep.
It's
true. It's like riding a bike. You never forget. Nope.
So, another word of advice, kids. Once you get bitten by this bug,
Yeah, you
it's
got it
a
forever.
lifelong
Yep.
addiction.
And you're never too old.
And that is true. You're
Yeah.
never too old.
My philosophy, if it's too loud, you're too old, and I'm not too old yet. So,
And I think we'll leave with that.
yeah.
All right, so that is it.
Thank you, Ryan. This was great. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
Of course, man. Now I just have to figure out which of these is the camera so I can show it. Nope, that's not the one.
Fun. That was a cool little chat. And I'm still amazed looking at all your flyers. This is so cool.
Where did we go? Oh.